There we go. So, hello. I'd like to thank you all for being here and for this opportunity to present at EVA. My name is Annie Sungkajun, and I'm an assistant professor at Illinois State University. Today, I'll be presenting my work, Though Miles Apart, which is an interactive installation meant to evoke nostalgia within participants through projected narratives. And I created this with the help of my supervisor at the time, Dr. Theo. First, I'd like to share a bit of personal background. I was born in the United States. However, my family is from Thailand. As a child, I recall visiting my extended family over the summers. And nowadays, as my parents moved back to Thailand once I started my college education, I try to visit when I can afford it. But as the quote says, as I grow older, my family grows older too. In the time, I've lost a grandfather, an aunt, and quite recently, actually just a grandmother, all of who I sorely miss, but their memory lives on within the images that I keep of them. The installation focuses on the site of imagery to help support memory. The site of imagery comes from personal footage, photos, and videos from 5 culturally diverse women, including myself, and a common thread between them that I wanted to make sure was this interpretation of home. Part of the inspiration behind my work is French philosopher Gaston Bachelard, with his philosophies of home and space. In his book, The Poetics of Space, I found his term of architectural phenomenology to be fascinating. Phenomenology is the study of the structures of experience and consciousness, and in other words, the way we experience things and the meanings things have in our experience, which is often subjective in nature. Thus, architectural phenomenology is the way we experience architecture. In his book, there's this quote that says, "All really inhabited space bears the essence of the notion of home." Another philosopher that I was inspired by is Edmund Husserl, who coined this term intersubjectivity, which is to say a sort of mutual understanding between people. No one person can have the same exact experience as another. So your experiences are yours, and whereas mine are mine. But with this in mind, we can attempt to understand the view of the other by exchanging places. In these experiences, the idea is that we don't come to the same exact understanding, but that we can have this shared understanding and therefore become more empathetic. In this exchange, in the context of reminiscing, one can place themselves in the mindset of another and attempt to understand them as an individual and vice versa. Which comes to my installation. It's based on a traditional Chinese melody, Sui Jiao Getru. Sorry, I'm going to butcher that. The installation embodies this idea of separation, but though apart, we are still able to share the beauty of the moon together. And the moon has been quite the symbol of reminiscing oftentimes. And so when approaching the installation, you see soft, tangible objects, 5 of which are glowing to indicate that they are touch points and to invite participants to approach the installation. As the participant kneels down to touch one of these glowing points, a designated video narrative is projected into the surface, like a pond's reflection. And on the surface of the installation, there's stuffing, this sort of very soft material in order to act like a fog as to cloud the memory that's being projected. And as briefly mentioned previously, the videos or footage that's being projected is from the memories of 5 culturally diverse women. From left to right, the memories are from Abu Dhabi, Peru, myself to represent Thailand, another from America, and last, someone from South Korea. When asking for memories from my colleagues, I simply asked them to share a memory of their place of origin or home and the stories that came with them. And as you can see, the memories displayed are considerably different, There was a wide range of footage from either childhood videos to something more recent, such as a graduation. For myself, I wish to include the time when I visited my family when it had been about 5 years since I saw them. During that time, we took a road trip together, and I remember in particular, my dad being adamant about recording. For my friend from America, she chose to use footage from her grandmother, whom she was very close with. The videos were converted from DVD, and it shows her grandmother's wedding day, as well as childhood years of her uncle. My friend from Peru chose to share childhood images of when she was young and still living in Peru. And a subtle parallax effect was applied to the photos to give them life. And then my friend from Abu Dhabi decided to share also recent videos from her trip back home. And then finally, my friend from South Korea shared her recent graduation from being an undergrad. The footage was edited to focus more on imagery that strangers could hopefully connect with, trying to use universal elements that could be relatable. The sound is an excerpt from Huaryoung's melody, which is translated into their respective languages. Here, that I'll be playing very shortly, is the sound for the English narrative.
Why does the moon tend to be full when people are apart? People experience sorrow, joy, separation, and reunion. The moon may be dim or bright, round or crescent-shaped. This imperfection has been going on since the beginning of time. May we all be blessed with longevity. Though thousands of miles apart, we are still able to share the beauty of the moon together.
And as seen in the video, the installation, among the soft pebble-like forms along the outer edge, there are 5 glowing conductive sensing areas, producing a fading pattern to show their inactivity, and will only glow solidly when they are grasped, as well as activating their respective video. The circuitry was done by using conductive thread sewn into the soft objects to make them touch sensitive. Then I connected them to Arduino, and the touch data is then processed through processing on the laptop, where finally it is projected onto the surface by a ceiling mounted projector. The aim of this installation was to involve participants in a sort of meditative space that provided an enjoyable and nostalgic experience. It is through interacting with the installation and the people amongst themselves that they can share their personal memories and can empathize with each other's story. I exhibited this installation at an art event in Texas, as well as in Art Tech 2019, which was in Braga, Portugal. During the exhibitions, I observed the participants' interactions, and a lot shared sort of this heartwarming sentiment, as well as felt the sudden need to preserve their own footage or their own memories from either childhood to now. And this quote from the Peruvian narrative states, "I don't usually take the time to revisit childhood memories and pictures. And so to see them being projected into the space made me stop and focus on those memories of being home." Another interaction that I had during the exhibition was recounting a person's visit to Phuket or Chiang Mai in Thailand, where we connected over our memories of the places and naturally the food. Then the sister of the narrative for Abu Dhabi, she came to see the installation, and before she had no prior knowledge of what the installation was about. But when interacting with the touch sensitive area to show the Abu Dhabi memory, she was immediately able to recognize the view from home, even though it was sort of this footage being shot from her sister's eyes, so to speak. In the future, I'd like to expand this project in a couple of ways. First, I'd like to design with accessibility in mind. Currently, the project makes it very difficult for the elderly or those that are uncomfortable with crouching or kneeling. Thus, I'd like to raise the height of the installation at hip level. I think this would also benefit the project by allowing more intimate interactions with these memories. And I would also like to have the audience be able to share their own memories. After all, we now often carry our memories on our phones nowadays. And so to be able to share these personal memories with those around would be another future step. However, I would need to explore the interface for this idea a little bit more, just so that it doesn't disconnect visitors from the experience as well. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.